Hi, Kyle. Happy
Hello.
earnings day.
Yes, happy earnings day.
You're always such a bubble of energy.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stock after hours?
Yeah, not so great. Although Disney announced sort of lower than expected earnings as well as lower than expected Disney Plus subscriber growth. But here's where I'm a little confused. In August, we covered an investor event where Bob Chapek talked about how the parks were impacted by the Delta variant, particularly for about like a month in there, which would be in the quarter here, about August. And then the Disney Plus subscribers would be in the low single digit millions, um, and that's where they were. They were about 2 million, give or take, um, or take. Um, but I don't know. But I'm seeing that Wall Street expected nearly 10 million subscribers, so I'm not quite sure why they expected that. If Bob Chapek said that wasn't going to happen, so
And the stock tanked when he said that.
right. So I don't. Yeah, it's like I'm surprised it's not already priced in, unless they, thought he was just sort of kidding. Or I don't know,
They thought,
lowering
what if
expectations.
really knocked it through the roof?
But yeah, so Disney stock is definitely down. It's still not anywhere near the lows of last year during the heat of the pandemic, but he did mention there's a certain seasonality to the business too, which I found surprising. Regarding Disney Plus, kind of said that if the delays of everything that next year in the fourth quarter, which is July, August, September, is the first quarter they're going to have really stuff from all the brands, including Pinocchio from Disney, um, Ms. Marvel from Marvel, and Andor from Lucasfilm. So,
And Nat Geo somewhere in there. He didn't specify what, but
right. Um, but we do expect that they kind of said they wanted to have a premiere each week, either like a season premiere or a new movie of some sort, and they'll get into it. I think we've all kind of noticed that the cadence was been a little slow lately. Perhaps as they're pivoting what they're doing or other things, but they seem to be getting there. Want to get there.
although we also kind of forget about some of the stuff that's already out there. Like I mean, it's probably just because of what it is, but I don't know if anyone's talking about Doogie Kamaloha or Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, but I mean, those Turner and Hooch ended a couple weeks ago, and Doogie's season finale is coming up this week.
So you don't even know.
Yeah, so it seems like that's the kind of pipeline that they're not replacing, because December we have Hawkeye, and then we'll have Book of Boba Fett, but that seems to be kind of it. I mean, obviously those are two big titles, but but in any case, we did get some news. I'll start with the Disney Plus news that I like. Getting sort of a release date for Andor, as well as a release season
quarter.
Or yeah, a release quarter for Ms. Marvel. I guess technically they could start earlier than the quarter. If they do multiple weeks, but I think Ms. Marvel's a little bit later than I expected originally. I kind of expected it to be, because originally it was supposed to come out this year, but I was kind of expecting it to be like a March thing, but I guess not. And then Andor, I'm guessing we'll hear a lot more about all this stuff in 48 hours. But
yeah,
with Disney Plus Day, I know there'll be a lot of announcements early Friday morning, and we'll obviously have full coverage and all that stuff. But you could kind of get the sense that they were chomping at the bit, just wanting to get more content out.
Did this feel like a really long preamble to you? This call, it was like 37 minutes or something before we got to the Q&A.
Yeah, this was definitely a lot more introduction. I mean, I think they had several things they wanted to hit. They talked about ESPN a lot, trying to dissuade rumors that they're going to be spinning it off, and talking about how sports betting could really grow that business. The parks,
after years of Iger saying that they weren't going to get into the sports betting business.
Yeah, but you get the sense now that I mean, we've gone from like DraftKings to be barely legal, to sports betting becoming legal in most states or many states. So obviously the public perception has changed on that, and good, bad, or ugly. I mean, things that are taboo change through time, as Disney has learned on the opposite side plenty of times. But speaking of the parks, some things I thought were fascinating was one is 30% of guests have purchased Genie Plus.
1/3, so 33%.
Sorry, 33%, which is obviously significantly less than what the Fast Pass uptake would be, but probably a lot more than I would have originally thought. Also, what I thought was
I will say I think it's I wonder what that number will be long term, because I think, if you're looking at the first couple of weeks, I'm pretty sure 80% of that is bloggers. So.
Yeah, well, we'll try it out. Pricing, I guess. It'll be interesting to see what it's one of those things that's going to be successful or non-successful based on word of mouth, right? Like, I'm Joe. I went to Disney World. Oh, let me tell you about, Genie Plus. You should get that when you get there. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that'll make that product work. Another thing I thought was fascinating, 40% of Magic Key holders were not part of the original program, the Legacy Pass holder program.
Yeah, I'm curious. We've had a couple responses to that tweet when we shared that, and people are kind of curious whether they're just counting people who had a pass when the program was canceled or whoever had a pass. And it wasn't really clear on exactly how they're measuring that.
It wasn't specific, but I would guess based on the numbers and the way they kind of implied it, that would be like, was a pass, not never a pass holder, but not a pass holder when the park's closed.
Yeah, that's how I would probably guess it too. And so, yeah, people are pointing out, well, I didn't have a pass when parks closed, but I'm not a new pass holder per se.
Yeah, but I think it's still, still a significant number. I mean, the other thing is interesting is he talked about how the top 2 levels were the most popular, with obviously the Dream Key selling out a couple weeks ago. So, not sure what that means in terms of moving forward, but be interesting. Anything pop out at you?
Things for the wrong reasons. So Christine McCarthy was answering a question and talking about some of the supply chain issues and how they're impacting Disney World and Disneyland, and she mentioned something about how they are either considering or have already tested like reducing portion sizes, and then she said which might be a good thing for some people's waistlines. And you're just like, we know, but maybe you don't say it.
Fun fact: Christine McCarthy, to make extra money, does Universal social accounts.
Yeah, that's definitely an example of the quiet part loud there.
Yeah. But I will say I have noticed. I'm not a big I always felt the portion size were maybe a little too large, but I have noticed that.
I should have measured that foot-long hot dog I got the other night.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. Change the portion size. I did notice. I don't know if it's a permanent change or supply chain issue, but they went from Heinz ketchup to Red Gold ketchup. So,
sometimes I remember working at the movie theater and ordering things from the exact same supplier and then just having substitutions. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a full-time permanent change.
But yeah, we got a big couple weeks ahead of us. We've got Disney Plus Day tomorrow, start of holidays. Not tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, the start of the holidays, starting basically tomorrow night at Disneyland Park. You've got Destination D, IAAPA, all sorts of things happening internationally. So, we expect more announcements. Like, I didn't expect any big announcements today because they're going to save them for another day. But I will say one thing that is interesting is they are planning on increasing the capital spending, which on the park side usually means, new rides and experiences. And so,
or pulling out the same crappy parade from that's blown away 50 times.
True, but that's probably perhaps not as big of a noticeable percentage increase since it's already built. So, this is not a case where Disney's now going to cheap out. Whether it's good or not, it's a whole other question. And then finally, I do want to talk about this Disney metaverse. It's like he listened to the Facebook presentation and it became a buzzword, and so now he wants to talk about it.
Well, yeah, well, he's mentioned it before. This is not the first time we've heard about this. It works its way into like random mentions. Oh, and before I get to that, I do want to mention, in regards to Genie Plus, there was a total tease where he's like, and we're excited to be launching it at Disneyland. And then you're like, here it comes. He's like, soon. But yes, but like that metaverse is one of those things like Disney Genie that he just keeps peppering into things. So it'll be another 5 years before it actually comes to fruition, I'm sure.
Well, and it'd be interesting to see. I think Star Wars has done a lot with it. Obviously, Galaxy's Edge is very specific in a storytelling moment, for better or for worse. They've done the Tales of Galaxy's Edge VR experience, Galactic Star Cruisers, obviously testing out, if immersion at a bigger level is desirable and successful, although based on bookings, it seems to be, at least initially. So, what is we live in a world with so many cinematic universes now, whether it's Star Wars, Marvel, or anything else. Is that going to become a bigger part of this, where it's like the cinematic universe is not just a movie or TV show, but, a VR experience, or, there's just different ways you're going to be sort of overwhelmed with touch points.
It's all very Ready Player One.
Yeah. Not a Disney movie, though.
Not a Disney movie, yeah.
Yet.
You always have to put that asterisk.
Yeah, I used to say that about Simpsons. So yeah, lots going on. I'm sure you and the team will be covering it constantly till you're pooped and tired and want to cry. But yeah, so follow us along on Friday for Disney Plus Day. Happy Veterans Day tomorrow for all who served or whose family have served. And we will see you around Laughing Place. Everybody.